Hello and welcome to the Nutrition Diva podcast, a show where we take a closer look at the latest nutrition trends, products, and claims so that you can make more informed decisions about what to eat. I'm your host, Monica Reinagel, and today I have a couple of questions from listeners about specific foods and supplements. Larry wrote to ask what I thought about spirulina. He says it's one of many ingredients in a green powder drink mix that he recently purchased. But before we dig into that, I also have a question here from Donnie, who wrote, I've heard that there are benefits to taking saffron as a supplement, including treatment of Alzheimer's disease, as well as it being an antidepressant and an anticonvulsant, among other things. Is there any truth to these claims? There is, in fact, some intriguing research on saffron and its effects on the brain. It appears to regulate neurotransmitters. It may help protect the brain against the effects of stress and even promote neuroplasticity. Although this is all very exciting, the clinical research is still very much in the preliminary stages, mostly limited to small, short-duration studies that need to be replicated in larger and more diverse populations before we can feel really confident in their validity. That said, multiple small trials have shown a moderate improvement in symptoms of depression and anxiety, in some cases rivaling the impact of prescription antidepressant medications. Other small trials have found that saffron led to modest cognitive improvement in people suffering from Alzheimer's disease. Now, saffron supplements should be completely avoided by anyone who is pregnant or could become pregnant. And, this isn't the usual situation where there is just insufficient evidence to demonstrate that it is safe during pregnancy. In this case, there is actually some evidence to suggest that it's not safe. But don't worry, the amount of saffron that you'd be exposed to from normal dietary intake would not be a concern. Other than during pregnancy, the supplement is generally safe when it's used at the typical dosage, which is about 30 milligrams a day, although a variety of side effects have been reported, including nausea, dry mouth, headache, and drowsiness. Higher dosages than that have produced more serious issues and are not recommended. All in all, Donnie, this is a story that's not quite baked, but definitely worth following as more research is conducted. And now let's turn our attention to Larry's question about spirulina. For those who aren't familiar with it, spirulina is a dark green algae that grows on the surface of lakes. In other words, it's basically pond scum, but it's really nutritious pond scum. The ancient Aztecs used to skim spirulina algae off the surface of lakes and dry it into cakes, which served as an important source of nutrients. Today, you're most likely to find dried spirulina powder in the health food store, where it's sold as a green supplement or added to smoothies, juices, and other health drinks. So what are the nutritional benefits of spirulina? Well, it is a good source of plant-based protein. Adding an ounce of spirulina powder, which is about 3 tablespoons, to a smoothie, for example, would add a pretty significant amount of protein, around 15 grams. And that's what you would get from 2 jumbo eggs or a half a serving of chicken breast. However, like most plant-based proteins, spirulina is not a complete protein. It's similar to legumes in that it is a good source of lysine, but contains only limited amounts of methionine. That's the amino acid which is often supplied by grains. Spirulina also provides various vitamins, minerals, and essential fatty acids. It's particularly rich in beta-carotene and vitamin K. Although, if you are eating a reasonable amount of fruits and vegetables, you're probably getting plenty of those vitamins already. Although it does contain several B vitamins, spirulina is not a reliable source of vitamin B12. Although the label may show that there's a lot of B12 in it, the form of B12 that's in spirulina is largely inactive in humans. Now, certain processing methods have been found to increase the bioavailability, but vegans really should not rely on spirulina as their source of B12. Spirulina is also quite high in iron. However, your body may not absorb all that much of it because spirulina also contains phytates, and these compounds bind to iron in the gut and they reduce the amount that you're able to absorb. So, if you are vegetarian or vegan, you also wouldn't want to rely on spirulina as your primary source of iron. In fact, spirulina can even reduce the absorption of iron from other foods that you're eating with it. Now, this is not to throw shade on phytates. These natural plant compounds also play a beneficial role in human health and nutrition. And you can learn more about that in episode number 612, and we'll put a note in the show notes. Like many nutritious plant foods, spirulina has antioxidant effects, and that can help reduce oxidative stress in the body. And research also shows that it may boost immune function. In fact, the National Institutes of Health recommends that people with autoimmune diseases, such as multiple sclerosis, lupus, or rheumatoid arthritis, should avoid it for that reason. The concern is that boosting the immune system could potentially increase the symptoms of autoimmune diseases. Frankly, this seems like an abundance of caution to me, as the effects on immune function that have been observed are relatively modest. Spirulina has also been found to have positive effects on a range of cardiovascular and metabolic parameters, including blood pressure, cholesterol, blood sugar, and blood clotting. In most cases, those impacts were also relatively modest, but enough that the National Institutes of Health, again, recommends caution when combining spirulina with other herbs or medications that may lower blood pressure, blood sugar, or thin the blood to avoid compound effects. And because of those blood thinning actions, spirulina is one of several herbal or nutritional supplements that should be temporarily discontinued prior to surgery. And other things in that group include ginger, garlic, fish oil, and vitamin E. And finally, there is evidence that spirulina promotes the growth of beneficial bacteria in the gut, a benefit that plenty of other prebiotic foods can claim as well. And if this is just one of many quote-unquote superfoods in your powdered green drink mix, the amount of spirulina that you're actually getting per serving may be pretty minimal. And you might also want to check out episode number 754, where I talked more about powdered green supplements like AG1. Folks who are promoting spirulina often make a lot of claims for special superpowers, such as suppressing the appetite, aiding with weight loss, energizing or alkalizing the body. Really, I would consider most of that to be marketing hype. So let's talk a little bit about the disadvantages of spirulina. Although spirulina does contain a lot of important nutrients, it's not cheap. An ounce of spirulina will run you between $1.50 and $3. You could get the same nutrients from other sources a lot more cheaply. Spirulina isn't exactly prized for its flavor either, which could be best described as, well, algal. Most people, if they are going to eat spirulina, enjoy it more when it's mixed in with other ingredients. Being a pleasure glutton myself, I prefer to get my nutrients from foods that I actually enjoy eating. There have also been concerns about contamination in spirulina and other blue-green algae supplements. Spirulina can absorb and accumulate heavy metals from its growing environment, including arsenic, cadmium, lead, and mercury. And the presence of those metals in supplements could pose significant health risks, particularly if these supplements are consumed regularly over a long period. So products that have labels that indicate testing for heavy metals and purity can provide an added layer of safety. So here's the bottom line on spirulina. It is undoubtedly nutritious. It may offer a valuable source of protein, especially for vegans. If you're viewing it more as a sort of vitamin supplement, it's on the expensive side, and it doesn't provide anything that you couldn't get from a healthy diet. If it's more the targeted health benefits that you're after, such as the impact on blood pressure or blood sugar, there are likely to be other dietary interventions or even nutritional supplements that could give you a bigger bang for the buck. If you have a question you'd like me to answer, you can email me at nutrition@quickanddirtytips.com. And if you're looking for more support on healthy weight management, please check out the tools and resources at wayless.life, where my goal is to help people create the habits, the mindset, and the lifestyle that help them weigh less without dieting. That's at wayless.life. Nutrition Diva is a quick and dirty tips podcast supported by a fantastic team, which includes Brandon Getchis, Nathan Sems, Davina Tomlin, Holly Hutchings, Morgan Christensen, and Cameron Lacey. Thanks to all of them. Thanks to you for listening. I'll see you next week.